All right, guys. So I know I might be saying something that's anathema to the manosphere, but it's time to start talking about some of these black dudes. And I'm not trying to, use the talking points that black chicks do. This is going to be something completely different, which is basically how old black men have let down the younger black generation. And I can speak from experience from just talking about my own father, which I've talked about in other videos. But I'm not the only one that feels that way, obviously.
Hell no. Especially when like I told you, I got a new job, and basically, I'm not gonna say names, but I was berated because I got a new job and was told I owed this new opportunity to them for some arbitrary reason. And you hit hit around the head. It was an older black dude, and like I said, the job I had was cool, but it's funny how when black people try to do better, that it's typically older black dudes who shame you for wanting to do better because they feel like you owe them something. Even with the Deion Sanders thing, is a prime example. Granted, my opinion for disagreeing may differ from most, but I mean, he did what he did. He did some good there, and he moved on to something better.
He elevated the program to something that it previously wasn't. Like no one even outside of people in Mississippi or people who possibly were thinking about going to Jackson State probably never even heard of the school before Prime Time came there and became the coach. I mean, he even had, I'm not bigging her up, but he even had like Brittany Renner speaking to his students. Like she was there, like, telling them the traps of dealing with women like her, basically. So.
But that's my point, though. It's like anytime you have younger black men who trying to do better or break the mold, older black men will tell them not to do it because it keeps them, because they can it lets them keep the little power they have, basically. And that's honestly, and I think we don't, as a black community, we don't want to be upfront about it. Like half the shit we do it's out of power. One group wants to keep power, whether it's black women, older black men, whatever the case may be. It's just one group trying to hold on to the little bit of power they have left. And now you have younger black men who are just saying, fuck it, like I'm not playing this game. Whether it be, them choosing to be passport bros, or, finding new ways to be successful outside of sports and entertainment, whatever the case may be. Younger black men, particularly, I would say millennials, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha and Gen Z, they're not going for it. Like they're not doing it, and it's scary to the old guard because a lot of those previous traditions are not following suit, and we're doing our own thing. Like we're finding success and happiness in other ways that traditionally black men are supposed to do it, and it scares people.
And they don't like being challenged, so you're either being disrespectful. That's when you're successful. You're being disrespectful. If you're not what they consider successful, then you're just using poor man's logic. So either way, you can't win.
And that's the thing. And I'm saying we, because I put myself in that group. We found the way to win is we just don't play the game. We just don't. Like even my father. Our relationship's getting better, but he was like, why don't you go to the military like your cousin? She went to the military, she got this, that, and the third, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's fine for her, but I don't want to go in the military.
And speaking as a veteran, I wouldn't say it's for everyone. Like, the military isn't for everyone, just like college isn't for everyone.
Right, I mean, she went because she was like, she was trying to go to the government, and she figured the military would be the better option. Whatever the case may be, that's fine. I'm not knocking her decision. But like I told you, I'm not paying for school. My master's, most of my master's was paid for. My doctorate, which I'm about to start not even next month, I think next week, is fully paid for.
That's what's up.
Like,
and just let most of you who aren't okay. So just a brief tangent on that for people who are not familiar. Doctoral programs are insanely expensive, guys. Most people don't pay out of pocket for them.
Let me tell you how much my one class costs.
No, wait. Before I want to let them know like how it's usually broken down from my understanding. So in the doctoral program, usually it's you're paying for it. Like there's gonna be some probably out-of-pocket expenses paid for through student loans or whatever, but the huge amount of it is gonna be through like a grant and fellowships, and usually as a result of the fellowship, either you're gonna be like a TA or you're gonna be a professor's bitch or graduate assistant so or research assistant, whatever the case may be. And so basically you're doing like it's a full-time job. Like you're doing all your courses and you're working for the school and or professor. Like, so to have a full ride and not have to go through the normal academic BS of being a doctoral student, which is one of the most stressful things people can do. And usually there's a point where most doctoral students have to assess whether they really want to continue this or not, because they're on the brink of either having a meltdown or just saying fuck this shit. So getting the financial stuff out of the way is like half the game right there, really, for a doctoral program.
Just to give you an idea how much this shit costs. So my first class is 6 credits, right? They charge per credit. The total bill is damn near $6,000.
That sounds about right.
Right. So, but that's my point. Like, if I hit the route I was advised to take, go to the military, I wouldn't have this opportunity. I mean, I probably would have got it.
Unless it was like a program through the military that was paying for, like,
right.
So they have certain.
But programs. They do. But come on now, I'm the wrong persuasion. I'm not getting that.
I know. I'm just saying, like, so, like, like, remember, I think I was telling you with someone else, like, there's like the military has its own medical school, so they got like you go to medical school for free and
you just get the time back, and that makes sense. But that's specialized things. Like for my field, there's nothing like that for my field. And what I'm trying to do is, the research I want to do is still, I'm not gonna say like it's not new, but it's new. But to sum it all up, the point I'm making is that if I would have listened to the old guard and be like your cousin because she is what they define as successful, because like I said, we only a couple months apart. Granted, yeah, she's about to get married, she's got her own house, great career, I'm happy for her, but people don't take into account our upbringing is different.
Right. I had some shitty ass education advice too. I told you, like, when I was coming out of the army, switching to reserve duty, and I wanted to finish school, and I got accepted to my alma mater, and my father was like, well, you don't need to be going there, you don't need to be Joe College at 21 years old, and you need to just go to night school or whatever and do that or whatever, because I think that's what he did. I'm not sure, but either way, that wasn't the route I wanted to take, and I'm glad I didn't listen to him for once, because at that time, at that stage in my life, I used to still listen to him. Why, I don't know, but yeah, according to him, I shouldn't have gone to college, even though when I went there was a lot of other black men my age, because like me, a lot of them had to postpone school to work and do other things so they could have the ability to go back to school full time and have the actual university experience. So it was just shitty ass advice. And then on top of that, because I didn't listen to him, he, I guess, called himself cutting me off and said he wasn't going to help me with school. And both, he and my mother were basically telling the rest of the family that I was going to probably end up failing out of school. And it's wild. Like, I'm not going to say I was told that down. I don't think that was ever said about me personally, but I will say that the level of support was definitely, there was a different level of support between one side of my family and the other side of my family. I'll put it like that. And it's funny because once, I got accepted to my doctoral program, it was said publicly that they were, my dad was proud of me and all, but he said, you did, I wanted you to do things differently, but you're your own man, you did it the way you wanted.
And I think at that point, as I got older, like that's where our relationship got better, because it's like, dude, I'm about to be 30 next year. You can't tell me what the fuck to do. Like, I'm older than you were when you had me. I've accomplished more than what you accomplished. Like, granted, I'm not going to get into too many details, but yeah, you made some money, but dude, I have accomplished more. Like, I've accomplished way more than you.
And you have some of the old guard hating on younger people because they're accomplishing more at a younger age than they were able to do.
Exactly.
And it's like, you should be happy. That's progress. Like, why wouldn't you want that? Like, they always belittle the younger folks, saying, "Oh, you guys got it easier and this and that."
It's supposed to be easier,
right?
Life is not supposed to just get harder for the next. And I think, honestly, personally, I can't say that's only for the black community, because white people, every other group does it too. It's just this weird idea of, oh, you guys are younger and you have these options, so you're more privileged than us. I just think it's a deeper modicum of hate. Like, that should be me. I should have what you have.
So a therapist actually brought this up with me. She was saying it was a blue collar mentality, and I was like, and I was trying to correct her. I was like, well, he's not a blue collar guy. I was like, at the time when I was talking with her, I was like, he was a college professor, a lawyer, an accountant, and such and so forth. I was like, he's in the professional class. She's like, well, that doesn't really matter whether he's actually in the professional class or not. It's that mentality that they grew up with, that they have, that makes him so, be so difficult with you. And I guess, like I said, and I think it's something endemic with their generation.
It is.
That they had that sort of mentality, because it's fucking toxic.
It is. And like, I work blue collar jobs, and there's a thing in blue collar work where it's about seniority. So, if, let's say me and you work in a warehouse, and there's I want off on Christmas, you want off on Christmas, because I even if it's a month, because I've been there longer than you, I automatically, get the option before you, and you're a low man on the totem pole. And that's something I learned, because most of my family were blue collar workers. So and they don't have the mentality, but I learned, the tricks of the trade coming up, even working in my job. So, and that aspect, I do agree with her on that. Like, they still had that mentality of, since I'm senior, I should have more than you. And kind of why Japan is going in the shitter, but that's another conversation.
That can be a different video. But yeah, she was making a good point, because I told her, like, some of the insane shit that he would say. Like, I've told you, like, when I was 19, he was sitting there comparing me to my other 19-year-old cousin, saying, well, I'm not going to use his name in the video, but he's saying, so-and-so is, your age. I was like, he already got a job at the bank. He has a wife and kids. I'm like, I'm 19. I don't want a wife and kids yet. What the fuck? Like, that shit is crazy. And when I brought it up to that very cousin, even he was like, yo, that's insane. Like, why would he want you to have that? He's like, I did that, but it just happened. It wasn't something that I planned. I was like, well, yeah. I was like, he had me dead to rights, comparing me to you, saying I need to be more like you, even saying I should be married and have kids at this stage of my life, just like you were, because just by the very fact that you were doing well. I'm like, that shit is crazy. That didn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. And it never got any better as I got older. And like, he would just switch from comparing me to one cousin to another, and it was just asinine as hell.
Yep. And that's how my dad did me and one of my cousins. The whole military thing, and she's doing this, she's doing that, and this and that, and the reason, part of me, I never said nothing, and I learned this as I got older. I don't tell people my plans. Like when he's saying all this, I'm like, dude, I think this was like a few years ago. Like, dude, I already have my next 5 years mapped out, and my plan has been working. Like I said, I start my doctorate next week or the week after, and it's fully paid for. That was in my plans.
That's what's up.
Like, I planned my life out, like, right after I would say halfway through my master's, I planned the next 5 years out.
And the shit is, and the shit that's crazy is when you have like planned well to do the things you want to do and accomplishing it, then they call you a know-it-all and actively root for you to have some sort of fuck up so they can say I told you so. Because that happened to me, and it was like up until I made some mistakes, like when I was like gliding through college doing my thing, earned one degree, then earned another degree, then went on to grad school. It was like, oh, you think you know it all, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Yeah, and I would say own it. And like, so, like I said, my plan, once I finish my doctorate, I'm swinging my dick around. Like, heavily. Like, I am swinging this motherfucker around like, yes, and I'm not going to say there were people who were actively rooting against me because I don't know. I never paid attention to it.
Yeah, it just sucks when it's your own fucking family doing it.
And I'm pretty sure I had some family members who going to look at me like, well, you think, yes, I am. Just given the conversations I've had with some family members and my views on things, yeah, I am. I am going to act like I know more than you because I fucking do. And it took me a while as an adult to start, carrying myself like that with certain people, but now I just don't engage in a conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm at the point now where intellectually I can explain myself in a way that I can make them feel dumb.
I do that all the time.
But I have the option. But
that's why they call me a smart ass, and I'm using poor man's logic, because basically they can't refute what I'm saying. So I have the ability to call someone a dumbass without ever saying dumbass.
Exactly. and I know I'm gonna get the talk where, well, just because you got a doctorate don't mean you know everything. Yes, it does. And
no, as soon as you go to college, they start saying that shit. Like, it's like, come on, like.
And I got that from some family members, and they didn't do it maliciously, but it was, well, you just know book stuff, you don't know the street stuff. I'm like,
street stuff just means criminal shit. Like,
exactly.
That's street smarts means you know about criminal activity. Not that you're doing criminal activity, but that you're hip to criminal activity. That's
nobody cares. No. Now, well, most times they're talking about streets, but they're talking about life. Like, this is how school works, but this is how the real world works. I get that, but
what do they think is written in these books? Like, we're not reading Grimm's fairy tales.
I know, and that's the second part I want to hit on. Like, y'all, what the fuck y'all think we go there to learn? Like, bruh. No.
Everything that's written in the books is exhaustively
taken from real life.
No, well, yeah, that, and it's exhaustively resourced, so I can go and track, okay, this person said this in that book, and here's, his sources cited here, and I can go and say, okay, well, if I really wanted to, I can go and track those sources and see whether what he's saying really adds up or not. But because they're not taught to think abstractly, they don't understand that. But I'm gonna wrap it up because I don't want to make this go on too long. I just wanted to say, like, we in the manosphere, we usually give black women a lot of shit, but we need to call out toxic black dudes as well.
Dumbass.
Because he was about, anyway, and especially with the ice, we was about to see a fender bender, guys. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, we need to call out these older black men, because as much as the black manosphere wants to call black women out on their shit, and they should, and they need to keep doing so, let's not forget that the older black guard, the old black men, they have a hand in why the community is fucked up as well. So that's all I'm gonna say. But all right, guys, I'm Just A Contrarian.